Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to day 2 of our study on fasting. One of the things that really helps me to embrace fasting, which on its face seems to be, a little bit severe, is to realize that I can experience certain benefits of fasting without jumping into the deep end. In other words, I don't have to, do a 40-day fast in the wilderness like Jesus did to realize some significant benefits. So today what I want to do is to share some ideas on how you can jump into the shallow end and begin to experience fasting in, I think, what will be a positive way. Now, I want you to remember that it's not only food, it's any reduction in comfort, as we think about the definition that we looked at yesterday. And so let me give you 3 categories that our author provides for us to think about things that might constitute a reduction in comfort. First of all, food and drink. Secondly, technology and social media. And thirdly, shopping and spending. Now, let's just kind of, walk through those categories, and I want to share with you, what might be encompassed in that, and then I want to personalize it by sharing with you, ways that I would find to fast that I could realize some real benefits without, again, jumping into the deep end, okay? So let's take category number 1, food and drink. Now, I want to welcome you to our kitchen, okay? When we think about food and drink and reducing our comfort there, you could do it. You could just do an alcohol fast. You could do a sugar fast. There's lots of hidden ways that sugar finds its way into our groceries, so you got to be careful there. You could do it for a day. You could do it for a meal. You could do it for a week. But when I fast, what I do is I use junk food, which is my basic problem. And let me give you an idea of what I would do. First of all, I stopped drinking Diet Zeros, Coke Zeros, or Diet Cokes. I stopped with the little chocolate Santas here, or the chocolate-covered pretzels, which I love. Oh my gosh, I don't have a Klondike out. Where are my Klondikes? That's my basically, bedtime snack. Right here, what I have are a bunch of Reese's Pieces. These are always provided at the office when I come back from lunch, and I grab a bunch of them and so forth. But when I do a fast, remember, what I do is I cut out junk food. And a good way to think of junk food, and I learned this as a diabetic, is if it's a plant, eat it. If it's made in a plant, get rid of it. And all these things that we're looking at here are things that were made in a plant. It goes on, Doritos, are one from time to time. And here's a plate of cookies. Oh my gosh, those are great. So if I fast, and I'm in the midst of a 3-day fast now, 3 days into a 5-day fast, that's what I would pick. Hippocrates said this. He said, "Let food be your medicine and medicine your food." So that helps me in a number of ways to realize some important benefits. Now here's a second area, and that is technology and social media. This could include a fast from TV, radio, internet, cell phones, emails, computer games. My particular issue is probably cable news shows. I'm a bit of a news junkie. And sometimes I begin to realize that the news actually begins to raise my anger level. And so I might choose to do a fast, for a week. I'm not going to watch social media. If you think of it, the key here is, if you think of our definition, optional temporary reduction in comfort so that I can redirect my spiritual energies to God. If I were to do a fast from cable news, then what would make sense is to redirect my spiritual energies toward reading, maybe some devotional reading or a good book that I've been wanting to read. That's a way, you see, that I replace something that can become, a little bit of an attachment, that could become a bit of a craving that I begin to push away and to do something. And in the process of that, what I begin to realize, it makes me think of when Jesus said, my meat is to do the will of him who sent me. And so I get so much more satisfaction out of reading a book than, say, I would out of watching cable news. And the same thing goes for food. I can, take that time that I would normally be eating and replace that with a prayer walk. And I find the satisfaction of that prayer walk is actually even greater than the food. Now, here's a third category, and that is shopping and spending. And quite frankly, when I looked at this the first time, I thought, yeah, it's not a problem with me. I'm kind of a, one aisle or 10 minutes, whichever comes first kind of shopper. But as the author began to unpack that particular section, he talked about his own struggle with buying books, and I went, nailed me. He said, I sometimes buy books to take the edge off, and I thought, you know what? I think that's what I do. I just like to get books, and sometimes I don't read them. They sit in a stack for quite a while. Now, why do I do that? Well, what he did was he declared a fast from anything that was not essential purchasing. And for him, that was books, included books. And during that time, you see, he was able to kind of, replace, a kind of a non-productive, kind of addictive, compulsive kind of activity with something else that gave him a much more joy. In fact, just for him, it was giving away things. He found much more joy in giving away things that were just sitting in his closet or, accumulating on his bookshelf than he did in actually consuming something new that he would buy. Okay, now here's what I want you to do to apply this. I would like you to review the list of 3 categories so you're familiar with the range of options that you have for fasting. Then secondly, I want you to identify what resonates with you, something that kind of jumps off the page and says, you know what, I think I could do that, as a voluntary, temporary reduction in comfort so that I can redirect my spiritual energy. And then thirdly, I want you to engage in a 3 to 5 day experiment of fasting from either food or drink or from technology, social media, or shopping and spending. So pick one of those and get started so you're actually experiencing this. And then in the next couple days, we're going to look at some ways to think about fasting that I think will help to keep it motivational and for you to actually get excited about something that, quite frankly, scares most people. So have a great day.